What is up, and welcome back. Here we are at the World's Conference 2019 in Long Beach, California. We've had an amazing day, seeing all kinds of startup pitches, companies backed by Y Combinator and so on, and of course blockchain companies, which is always thrilling to see. So today we've got Nathan Leung with us from CoinState, CEO, co-founder, and we're going to ask him a few questions around how he really articulates his schedule and uses his habits to drive the profitability, but as well as the success of this company. So can you tell us a little bit about CoinState?
Yeah, so CoinState is a growth marketing company for blockchain companies, and our CEO is actually Justin. He's not here right now, but I do all the marketing for them, and it's been good, man. It's still very early. Emerging tech is still a very, cryptocurrency is very unknown still. It's very, very new, but it's a $300 billion industry, so it's there. There's a market for us there. Yeah,
absolutely. So when you say growth marketing, can you tell us what that entails for blockchain companies?
Yeah, so my job is to research our audience and understand what it is that they enjoy. It's essentially getting to know them as a person and then seeing how we can help grow their brand or get their project out there. If we feel like it's a good project, then we can help them essentially blow it up, make it go viral, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I've heard some really keen insights around you want to design your marketing to talk to one exact person. So for Felix, our mutual friend, he has one person who's in his trading academy who he knows exactly what this guy wants, and he talks exactly to him in his marketing. Mm-hmm. And I think that's such a scalable way to do growth marketing. So it's really awesome that you guys take that approach. And so in the world of blockchain, we saw the acceleration of the hype trend go up, and in the technology curve, then it has a dip naturally, and then there's a new accumulation phase after, when the utility of blockchain really becomes apparent and starts actually taking a real hold in the market, right? Being used for technologies and dApps and stuff like that. So you want to speak at all to the technology curve and the state that we're at right now with blockchain?
Yeah, I think people are still figuring it out. I feel like as a payment system, Bitcoin, I guess that's the OG, right? So they're not ready yet for the world. I think it functions very well as Gold 2.0, but it's not ready to be as a payment. It's more you don't really take a hunk of gold out and be like, yo, I'm trying to buy, volleyballs or whatever it is. You just can't do that. So it's
yeah, understood.
But it is a great store of value. When the economy seems to go for a downturn, you're able to hold on to gold. That's a store of value that will always be valuable.
Absolutely. I think the economics side there, it's been known that it's inversely related to stock markets. So basically, when gold goes up in value and the markets are going down, it's a safe haven. Just like blockchain is cryptocurrencies have been seen as a safe haven against hedging against traditional markets. So I use the markets for that particular hedge myself.
Nice.
And then that's on the coin side. Now, what about the blockchain technology side? Where do you see the technology curve right there?
I think it depends how they implement it. At the end of the day, you can talk a good talk, you can raise a bunch of money, but you have to execute. You have to say what you're going to do, and the idea has to be there. And also, it's all about the user interface and user experience. If my mom or my grandma can't use it, they ain't gonna do it. They're not gonna use it. If it's not as easy as downloading an app, or like Uber or whatever it is, that's everything. You've got to be able to use it. It's got to be very simple, and it's got to be. So there's a learning curve there, because right now with crypto, it's almost like nerd money, right? You have to know the private keys. You have to know where your wallet's stored. You have to know how to back it up. You have to know which address to send it to, and it's just
16 digits.
Exactly, transaction fees too, and then you can. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff, and it's not really taught in schools, so it's controversial to everything you've been taught.
Which is why we love it.
Yeah.
So I think of a business as a living, breathing mechanism or organism, right? There are times of rapid growth where we maybe have a growth spurt in the business, and in blockchain we saw a huge uptick in 2017, and then contracted, and then came back to more the foundations of what the platform is, and it's very much like a human, in my opinion. So can you talk about some of your human habits, how you improve, or how do you get through something like the crypto winter, staying positive, continuing to work on the business when the market throws you such a curveball, when there's a shakeout?
That's a good question. I would honestly say that it's all about your health, if if that makes sense. It's a weird thing to kind of wrap your mind around, but I think physical health, mental health, spiritual health is really important. If you're not on top of your game for all of those, then you're gonna falter. You have to be, doing things. You have to take time for yourself in order to give out to other people.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't give if you don't got, right?
Right.
So, can you talk to me about some of the health habits that you maybe you keep in rotation, or you just use on a regular basis to keep your physical, your mental, and your spiritual health well? Just talk to me about some of those habits that you have there.
Okay. Well, spiritually, I'm trying to grasp the concept of God. If that sounds weird enough, I'm from Texas.
Cool to get weird to that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So my family's from Texas, so I was raised up really in a religious place, and then I kind of just did my own thing for a long time. I moved out to LA, struggled my ass off, and then I'm trying to figure out, spiritually where I'm at with that. Like, what is God? Like, define it. Like, is it just a higher power? Is it the waves? Is it gravity? Is it something I can see? Is it something I just believe? And then so spiritually, that kind of gives me more of a purpose, and just realizing that it's not me. It could be anything but not me. Like, I'm not the greatest thing on this planet, and I have to establish that. Unfortunately, I'm not.
I mean, I think you're pretty close, but
yeah. Unfortunately, though, I'm not. So it's like it's got to be something like that for spiritual, and then for mental, meditation, prayer, just kind of, I guess, like what we talked about earlier, kind of being mindful, being aware, and just understanding where people come from. I feel like that's really important as well. So I try to meditate every day, twice a day if I can.
Amazing, wow.
And then I go to the gym for physical. I go biking, I go longboarding with my cousin a lot.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's just...
Yeah, I find that like in the physical health, it helps to have explosive and intense style workouts, as well as like longer, more mindful ones, right? Where you're spending like enough time to like get into a runner's high, or to have that euphoric feeling from swimming. So that's awesome, and I can relay it myself. I think that's such an anchor as a founder, because like you go through so many ups and downs. You really don't have that many like solid centerpieces in your life. Even financially, you can go through huge ups and downs as a founder. So you're exposed to so much. You need an anchor. And so I heard you mention that you had done one of the installations here. Can you talk to us about that, the meditation one?
Oh yeah. So there's a Zen bus right here.
Here it is.
If you want to take a look at that. So they took a school bus, and what they did is they renovated the entire thing, solar panels, and they drive it out to like companies like Activision or other corporations for like 1 to 3 hours, and then they give free guided meditations.
Amazing.
Yeah. So anybody who's at work who's just like done with it, blew up at their boss, they can just go straight down to the.
Anyone who gets fired gets just walk right
yeah. You're fired now. Oh, I'm good.
Yeah, I think it's funny. There's actually a pretty big community crossover, or like a Venn diagram between the spiritual community and the blockchain community. I don't know if you've noticed that, but people like Brock Pierce and all the people going to go burn at the Burning Man. Yeah. There's a big crossover there, and I think that's indicative of more cultural trends. Do you see a more empathetic and understanding approach to business forming, or do you think that people are going to kind of stick to the ways of, like Michael Dell said back in the day, only the paranoid survive in business? Which way do you think we're heading?
I think for a good business to succeed, you need to have both. You need to have like both worlds. You need to have somebody else on your team who's like, it doesn't matter that like that I may not be that way, but somebody on my team has to have that paranoia. So it's like
balance.
It's gotta be. Just because it's like I always say, every team needs to have somebody with a college degree. I don't have one, so
gotta find somebody.
Gotta have somebody with a college, because they're reliable. They finish college. They're able to see it through. I never finished college because I can't learn like that way, and so I do what I want to do. But then like sometimes I feel like I lack the gas to see it to completion. Whether it's 98%, that 2%, it's like somebody with a college degree who's like had to do all that crap to get that piece of paper will see it through.
That longevity.
Yeah. So you need both. You need somebody to be like, oh, that's not a good idea, because you need separate eyes on certain situations, right? Because if you're always
need a skeptic's eye.
Yeah. Sometimes you make a bad bet, because it's all about betting, right? So you can bet all the money in the world, but it's all about winning those bets. And it's like when you hedge bets, you need a second opinion. Like if it could go wrong, if there's a chance, then I would prefer to know about it, than not know about it. I can still filter it and then but okay, yeah. Daniel says we got a rabbit. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Awesome. So, who on your team is the Michael Dell? Who's the paranoid, shrewd businessman, and who's the open-minded, creative visionary?
Obviously, so Justin is like a mix. So our other co-founder, he's like a mix. Our CEO, he's a mix of the both of us. And then so Phil over here, he's obviously the business-minded guy. He's always like checking for angles, like seeing what's what, and he gets things done. So he's more of like the operations guy, and then I just go out there and I run my mouth.
Excellent.
Yeah.
My favorite thing,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
So I think it's funny because as a service provider, you're a service provider, you know what it's like when you have, say, quote unquote, bad client. Like, I've had opportunities to either say, tuck my tail between my legs and say, you're right, I'm sorry, we didn't do a good job, or maybe like we didn't deliver on our promise. Or I've had opportunities to get bull-chested and say, like, no, we did our job, we did it right, and you simply didn't appreciate the outcome there. Can you tell me about a time when being understanding and forgiving actually was a regret, or when you didn't want to make that decision, or has it always been that taking quote unquote the high road has paid off?
I got a story for you. It'll be quick. So one of my first directing jobs was for a show. It's like China's Top Model, and then this dude already cut. I'm just kidding.
It's good.
Shooting for China's Top Model, and then I gave the footage to one of the guys from the other team, and then that was like against our policy because they still owed us money. And I gave them the footage, and then we gave them the footage, and they were gone with it, and we're like, oh, now they can edit it themselves, we're screwed, like this is for whatever it is. And then we check our hard drives, and it turns out all of our hard drives got corrupted. And so they gave me a ton of, like, everybody got a lot of shit for giving away the prize. Like, this is like all we've shot today, and we gave it away. But then now none of our copies work, so we had to go back to them, and they only
ask them for it.
They had the only copy, and so we copied all like 100 gigs of footage. And then, like, if we didn't do that though, if we didn't like get the footage back, or if I didn't give it to them, then we would have never gotten it back. And that's all the money down the drain, all the shoot days. Yeah. So we recovered it, and then it debuted with like 21 million viewers.
No way.
Yeah. So it blew up, and it was great. And thank God. Like
that story warms my heart as a business owner, because it's like I've taken the high road and really regretted it, and I've also put my foot down and said, no, I'm not going to let you abuse our team like that. So I think it can go both ways, and I think, like you said, it's a really important test of balance, and ultimately you should always take the high road, right? Like even if you lose a little bit now and then.
Yeah, just do your best, and then I mean, for if it's advice, I would say just say no first, because your time is more important. So usually whenever I talk with somebody, that's not a trick, but it's just like, when they give me an offer, I immediately reject it. I just need to talk to my team first.
Great principle.
Yeah.
In the book, Never Split the Difference, he said, getting to know is the most important part. Getting to the point where you can actually have like an honest, direct discussion about it. So I tend to agree there.
Cool.
Any other tips and tricks you'll want to share around how you've integrated your mindfulness and your habits into your business success?
Discipline. I didn't have a lot of that growing up, but discipline is freedom. Yeah.
Who said that? Wim Hof?
One of the Navy SEALs.
Yeah. So anyway,
I thought that was great.
I agree.
Hey,
well, I appreciate your time, and we will see you guys on the other side.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me.